I assume you have heard about coding bootcamps. Are coding bootcamps a good way to get into software engineering? The short answer for this is yes. The long answer is it depends. So what are we going to look for when we want to compare coding bootcamps? And how much do coding bootcamps actually cost? So is the price tag really worth the effort? So we will discuss this in detail in this video. Hit the like button below so that I know you have interest in this topic, please. But do not believe anyone who promises you that you can become a software engineer in 30 days or less by simply following their proven method. So that just doesn't exist. So you have to look at other ways to become a software engineer. To become a software engineer or a software developer, you really have to learn to think like one. And that is not easy. That doesn't happen overnight. It is like a muscle that you train, like for a marathon as an example. So you need repetition many times. So for a marathon, you just don't go running 5-6 times for 3, 4, 5, 6 miles and then you run a marathon. So you have to go through like a training plan, and the same thing applies for you if you want to become a software engineer. So it is a process that you have to go through. You have to follow certain steps, I want to say, that I don't want to say mandatory, but that really apply. And it's not really something where you can just speed up time. Yes, you can speed up time by doing stuff 12, 16 hours a day, of course. But overall, for most people, that's just not retainable. It's not scalable. So that's really where you have to look at the different solution. And that's where coding bootcamps come in. So ideally, a coding bootcamp is at least 3 months long. So remember what I said about the 30 days a few moments ago. Even 3 months of coding bootcamp, it will not turn you into a Google software engineer. So this will take a little bit more time, as you can imagine, but the 90 days or the 3 months of a coding bootcamp, well, they can turn you into an aspiring software engineer or software developer. It helps you to build a foundation, and then when you land your first job, that's really where this comes in. So what a coding bootcamp really does is that you are building a foundation for a career as a software developer or software engineer. So what do you need to consider when looking at coding bootcamps? So ideally, they come with an attached job or internship placement service of some sort, or maybe some sort of career planning service or a support service related to that, so that you're not just absorbing the knowledge and then you're out on the street thinking about, okay, what do I do next? No. Ideally, you want to select a coding bootcamp that helps you to land an internship, that helps you to land a junior position as a software engineer. So I think this type of service, it carries really the biggest value for people trying to break into the world of software development. So keep that in mind. But do yourself a favor and please read the fine print as well, because you are going to pay for it either by a higher price tag for the coding bootcamp, or you have to share some of your future income in the beginning once you have a job. So how does that work? So that extra service or that service that comes with the coding bootcamp, of course they want to make money off you. I mean, that's their intent. They're running a business, they're teaching you coding, and with that placement service potentially they refer you into companies that they partner with. So that could really mean that, okay, you make a little less money for the first 3 or 6 months, who knows, and some of your income would go to the coding bootcamp provider, or that you really just pay a little more because there's a portion of the learning to code and then that service that goes on top of it. So, but in general, I would say it's not really a big deal. If you really think about it, they help you to get your first job or an internship as a software developer. So it helps you a little bit to really get that first opportunity. And I think it's worth paying for this service. And then please be patient. So good jobs and high salaries, they will follow. You cannot necessarily expect those to be really part of your very first position as a software engineer or software developer. Even if you're a unicorn developer, your very first job, the salary will not reflect what you think you are worth. So an additional selection criteria for a bootcamp is really the format, how it's being delivered. Is it online or is it in person? I mean, we're still coming out of this pandemic. Most of these are currently online. And then online, you have to think about it. Is it really a live session? Are there group sessions related to this? Or is it just a recording? And maybe there are just the recordings and then some Q&A sessions. So figure out really what that format looks like and if that's something that you like. So can you learn from that format? Are you able to succeed with the format of that coding bootcamp? So ask those questions when you talk to them, because that's really the critical piece. If you are uncomfortable with that format, it will be difficult for you to really absorb the knowledge, because when you go through a 90-day boot camp, I mean, you're drinking from the fire hose. There's just knowledge heading your way. And if you cannot absorb it, well, you're wasting a lot of money. So with other boot camps, how about group sessions and group projects? You really want to consider the value that comes from live interactions with your teachers and especially other students. Think about networking, going together through projects, bouncing thoughts and ideas off from each other and really trying to learn. And that's where it's so important that you have live interactions where you can ask the teachers, but also where you can sit down with other students and just learn from them or really become part of that community. So what's your preference? Do you prefer online or do you rather learn in person? So please let me know in the comments below, because that helps me to potentially make additional videos related to that topic, helping you on that side. So now that we're getting closer to discuss prices for different boot camps in a moment, here I want to talk about first the content and the different curriculums. The curriculum matters when it comes to coding boot camps. Is the coding bootcamp for a specific language or a technology? Or is that coding bootcamp designed to turn you into a full-stack software developer? Make sure to align this with your goals, which will also help you to compare the different bootcamps from different providers, university or other organizations. So how much content can you really absorb in 3 months? I mentioned this already. You will be drinking from the fire hose. Too much content to be covered in too short of a time, it leaves you kind of hanging in the empty space where you know a lot, but not enough really to make it through that very first job interview. Remember, the very first job is the most difficult one. Can you master the bootcamp and walk away ready to land an internship or junior level software developer job? Or are you really not ready after you go through the coding bootcamp and you need to do some extra studying and learning to really get to that level to master this first job interview? So I think this is critical for you to determine really. If you can successfully complete the coding bootcamp, then you will be in a great position if you have the right level of knowledge. But if you fall short, you just need to understand why would you be falling short. So if you are a slow learner and you cannot follow along, well, you take the bootcamp and you might have to add an additional month or 2 months of self-studies to support what you learned. And if you don't know with certain bootcamps how they're being done, ideally try to talk to some alumni of that coding bootcamp or get some references, ask for their experience. Would they recommend to take that bootcamp for you? Or ask them, if you would be here with that knowledge that you have, would you do it again? Would you select this coding bootcamp again? So now let's get to that question about what does a coding bootcamp really cost? Okay, now I am at the computer and I have the pricing options for one of the bootcamps open here. The pay in full price is $16,245. There are different payment options listed here down below. There are also scholarships available, but we're not going to talk about this. So this is really just to get a list price piece of information regarding bootcamps. And I have several of those, so we'll go through. But let's see what you get for $16,245. So this is a software development online full-time bootcamp. This goes 14 weeks. And you learn 3 full stacks from anywhere. So you remember what I said earlier. So some of these have moved online, and this would be then your homework to identify, okay, are these live classes? Do you talk to other students? Is there some sort of online community, live meetings, whatever the case may be? But that's not the purpose of this specific section. So we're just talking about the price. So here are the pieces of information. You can look at the learning, the 3 full stacks. It gives you all that information here: HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Python, and so on. But the price information here really is what matters. So $16,245. And that's roughly the price range that I've seen several times for 3-month type of bootcamp. So this one is 14. Now we're going to switch to the next one. So here we have pricing, and the total cost is $16,500 for this bootcamp, so not much difference. And we're going to take a quick look at what we have here. So software engineering bootcamp, become a software engineer, guaranteed. So land a job as software engineer, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. All right, so we have $16,245 and $16,500. Let's take a look at the third option. So this one here is Hack Reactor, the industry's best software engineering coding bootcamp. And here the price option is $17,980 paid upfront on the first day of class. This bootcamp goes from November 8th to February 11th. So again, you're looking at 3 months, 12 weeks, but this one is in person, full time. So you would have to be wherever they are. I have not looked at the locations. I think there are different locations available. We'll leave that out. You can research that. I will put the links down in the description. The last one I have prepared for you here is, again, build your programming skills as a software developer. So this is in person. You learn from mentors, best practices for learning, gain a career. So now we're going to go and take a look at the price here. Tuition, $6,498. It goes for 24 weeks. But this is really just a 10-hour per week. So this is a part-time option. So if you find something part-time, this could also fit the bill for what you are trying to accomplish. So when breaking into tech, it really matters less about what degree you have or not have. In the end, it's a piece of paper, and nobody in tech really cares about that as long as you can show that you have the right skill set. So that's the advantage of coding bootcamps or when being self-taught. If you are able to show that you have the right skill set developed, that carries value. Yes, having a degree, it will help in other areas, but overall, as long as you can show that you have that skill set, that is what matters. And so when you choose a bootcamp, really, think about what your goal is and if that specific bootcamp can help you to achieve that goal. So, but what do you think about coding bootcamps? Are those a great way for you to become a software engineer? I know the price tag. Don't let that scare you away. If you really think about it, it's a bootcamp. It speeds up the process to do certain things. It's not a college degree, but it should get you into a position that if you apply somewhere for a job, that somebody will look at your resume and say, okay, on paper, that person should have the right skill set. Let's hop on the phone and let's talk to that person. And ideally, we want to get that person in for a job interview. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so as well. And then I hope to see you in my next video. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye.